Um, I wanted to cover this case of Adam Boehler, the Trump hostage negotiator, real quick, then do Syria, then maybe we can call it. What do you think?
Sure. Yeah.
What is okay? Adam Boehler is Donald Trump's hostage negotiator in Gaza, and he is Jewish. I'm pretty sure he worked for an Israeli tech firm out of college. He is not a Grayzone anti-Zionist by any means, but he has been under fire because he was, as I explained last week, negotiating directly with Hamas, with Khalil al-Hayya, Hamas official in Doha, who's based in Doha, to get dual U.S.-Israeli citizens out of Gaza because Netanyahu is not serious about getting the hostages out. And this is a tacit recognition by the Trump administration that they have to go around Netanyahu in order to get U.S. citizens out. I don't know what his status is. It's been reported that he was fired or removed from that portfolio. I don't know if you can clarify, Aaron, but this all relates to an interview that Adam Boehler gave to Jake Tapper, the Zionist enforcer for CNN. And Wyatt Reed of the Grayzone calls it hands down the most antagonistic interview opening I've ever seen.
U.S. hostage envoy Adam Boehler. Adam, thanks so much for joining us. Let's start on these direct negotiations with Hamas. First of all, obviously controversial to directly negotiate with terrorists. How much sign-off did you get from President Trump beforehand? And this is just my personal curiosity. As a Jewish American, did you have to steel yourself before sitting down to deal with people who are definitionally anti-Semitic murderers?
Well, I'll say meeting with people, whether they're good people or bad people, is part of my job. I'm the special envoy. I need to go and have dialogue with anybody. And that includes a lot of people that I would classify as not so good people to help other Americans. And so it comes part and parcel in the job. I knew that I was going to meet Hamas as a result of it, and we discussed it. Then I think when you walk and you sit in front of somebody and you know what they've done, it's hard not to think of it. I wouldn't say it's the most productive. The most productive is to realize that every piece of a person is a human and to identify with the human elements of those people and then build from there. But it definitely feels a little odd knowing what they really are.
So thank you for your candor. So you did get sign off from President Trump ahead of time, though?
Of course.
Yeah. What was the result of the meeting? How close are you to a deal to get the American hostages, living and dead, murdered, still in Gaza, out? How close are you?
Well, first of all, I want to note the American hostages that are there. One in particular that's alive, Adi Alexander, and 4 dead bodies of Americans, with about 50 killed. And that's just not acceptable. We live in the United States, the strongest country in the world, and there are 6,000 Americans in different countries. So one of my views here.
Look at Jake Tapper's face. He never displayed that face when there was discussions of dead Palestinians. You never saw that emotion on his face. It's a long interview. Boehler goes on to state again, and maybe we can, I don't have those clips in front of me. He says,
yeah, I got it.
Yeah.
Well, Jake Tapper again has asked him such leading questions, like, how could you possibly meet with Hamas and as a Jew and all that? And Boehler also, made some comments about Hamas and also said that they were making really important progress. Okay, and for some reason, my clips are muted.
No, you just have to turn the volume up.
Okay, there we go. Okay, my bad. You're right.
Axios' reporter Barak Ravid is reporting the top Israeli official, Ron Dermer, strongly discouraged you from talking directly with Hamas. He said it was a tense phone call. Tell us about that. Do you understand why Netanyahu, Dermer, others might be upset?
I do understand. I spoke with Ron, and I'm sympathetic. He has someone that he doesn't know well, making direct contact with Hamas. Maybe I would see them and say, look, they don't have horns growing out of their head. They're actually guys like us. They're pretty nice guys. So he doesn't know.
Jake Tapper's brain is melting down there. Okay. The U.S. hostage envoy just said Hamas does not have horns come out of their heads, and the officials he met with are actually pretty nice guys. And he said something else that Jake Tapper can't possibly comprehend.
Me, and there are big stakes. He lives in a country where if it sets certain precedents, then it will hurt or help a lot of other people. So I understand the consternation and the concern, and I wasn't upset. At the same time, we're the United States. We're not an agent of Israel. We have specific interests at play.
You're not allowed to say that.
We're not an agent of Israel. You are not allowed to say that if you are a U.S. official, particularly under the Trump administration, which is all about Israel first. And according to reports now, he's been removed in the Israeli media. I haven't seen confirmation yet of this on the U.S. side, but in the Israeli media, it says that he's been removed from the hostage file. And of course, that's not hard to anticipate. It wasn't hard to anticipate. You cannot say, if you work for the U.S. government, we're not an agent of Israel, because we do act often as agents of Israel. Certainly the Trump administration does. And so I wouldn't be surprised if it's true, as Israeli media reports, that he is now gone. But the sad thing is that he goes on in this clip to say that they've actually made some progress. And I wonder now, if he's really gone as a hostage envoy, whether that progress will be undermined. Let's hear a little bit more.
And we did communicate back and forth. We had very specific parameters by which we fell. And the reality is, what I wanted to do is jumpstart some negotiations that were in a very fragile place. And I wanted to say to Hamas, what is the end game that you want here? Not the dream end game, but what do you think is realistic at this point? Because until we know that, it's very hard to reach some sort of truce or some sort of end to hostility. So in the end, I think it was a very helpful meeting. It was very helpful to hear some back and forth. But I think Israel knows, walking out of that, it's not like Hamas got the world because I thought they were a bunch of nice guys.
Right. How quickly could something come together in terms of this negotiation?
I think something could come together within weeks. I will say that I believe there is enough there to make a deal between what Hamas wants and what they've accepted, and what Israel wants and it's accepted. And I think I think there is a deal where they can get all of the prisoners out, not just the Americans.
So you also can't say that either. You also can't basically put forward this possibility where engagement, diplomacy with Hamas could be productive, because that also undermines the Israeli narrative. You can't negotiate with them, and therefore we have to bomb Gaza into oblivion. So no surprise at all that he faced a huge backlash for saying we're not an agent of Israel, and that diplomacy with Hamas, who he called nice guys, is possible. His days were numbered after saying that on state TV on CNN.
In fact, sir, we are an agent of Israel. And to demonstrate that, we're removing you from the hostage file. Adam Boehler is like a healthcare executive. He's not coming from a traditional position like Steve Witkoff, who's a real estate guy and Trump's golfing buddy. And I think that's why they're making progress, because they're not Brett McGurk, who just took a position at a Saudi AI firm. They're not Jake Sullivan, who just got named the Henry Kissinger Professor of War Crimes at Harvard. He got a position named after Henry Kissinger at Harvard. They're not coming from the Beltway foreign policy establishment. They're just trying to get results. They don't care about the process. And now Adam Boehler has been apparently sidelined.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's important to stress, it's apparently, we haven't gotten, as we're broadcasting, we haven't gotten confirmation yet from the Trump administration, but that's what Israeli media says. He's been sidelined from his role as the hostage envoy in these talks.